All right, today's project is pretty straightforward and simple, nothing too fancy. I had a neighbor who was downsizing their shop, and I came into possession of his very large tool chest. I'll show that to you in a second, but basically, he had thought he had removed all of his personal items out of his tool chest, but as I was going through things, I found some of his medals from when he was in the military. And so we're going to make a small display case for those. This is the tool chest I got from him. Of course, all full of tools as well. Awesome.
And this is the pin display we're building. 3 pins. This first one I'm sure has more sentimental value than anything else. Homemade, as you can see. The next pin was one they gave to everyone who was enlisted. I'm told it was always went on the collar. And then, of course, this very last one is one they gave to the medical units. So, I do want the front of the box to be at an angle so that gravity helps to hold the pins on the box. And you can see the angle there. Alright, since this project is such a small project, I don't feel the need to do any dados or fancy joinery, so we're just doing simple butt joints and super glue. It's perfect. Alright, so I placed the different pins approximately where I'd like them to be on the board. I circled it when it was upside down, so that I could then place it just how I wanted the pin to be. And I carefully applied pressure down, so I had the exact drill spots and where things needed to be. Of course, each one is a little bit different, but this way I can make sure that the drills are perfect, or the holes rather will be perfect, so that it can all go as planned. Now, the first pin there in the middle fits perfect. My plan of using the pins on the back of the pin, it's redundant. But anyway, they fit perfect, and it made a great template. This US pin, however, you can see that the needles are kind of curved, and so as a result, these are off. So now what I did do is find some wood that I can drill in to plug these holes and glue it, wait for it to dry, straighten out these pins, and try again. Darn. So here's the first sliver of wood that I sanded to a point, gluing in. And of course, here is the second one. I had to go sand it real quick. Again, sanded to a point and glued in. With a flush trim saw, makes this little project, this fix, not nearly as big of a deal. If you don't already have a flush saw, seriously consider getting one yesterday. They're awesome. It makes cutting these flush with the top of the wood very quick and efficient. Now that those holes are filled and the pins are straightened, I can go for new marks and drill those holes again. I was so excited to get it glued on, I forgot to video me gluing it on. So you can now see a video of it clamped on. It's like the same. To make the homemade pin hang properly, I'm just using a nail and then cutting it off, and then using the second half of the nail to, again, hammer it in and cut it off. Okay, so once this metal had cooled, these nails, I went ahead and sanded the edges so that they weren't super sharp. Next step is I want to make sure that these backs are still retained, just in case my friend ever wants to be able to use them for his pins. So my thought was to easily make this back cavity into a quick storage compartment for that. And so my thought is to be able to use just a piece of wood like this and have it hinge out like this. I figured the easiest way to keep the door shut would be by the means of a magnet, which I've already installed here. The door has this metal rod that I've cut into it. We'll get that super glued in with some sawdust act as filler, and that way the door can stay shut. Now the hinge is going to be simply a nail from the top and a nail from the bottom. The pin you see there is simply a placeholder so I can test the door and make sure it's functioning as it should, because once that nail goes in to hold that door, it's not coming back out. And then before we continue, again, make sure this is all good to go. Terrific. To help ensure that the head of the nail is fully hammered in, I'm using a nail set to lock it in. Now I want to make sure that the head of the nail is completely hidden. So instead of trying to cut wood to fit perfectly, I'm going to use some sawdust and, you guessed it, some super glue. Letting the super glue soak into the sawdust. Once it's cured fully, we'll sand it. It'll be flush, and you will be able to see that it's different, but it'll be flush and beautiful. I'll be using a natural wood finish on this, which is not going to tint the wood at all, but rather just let the natural grain of the wood be enhanced. From there, once that's had a chance to cure properly, then we'll be finishing it with a lacquer spray, and let's see what it looks like. All right, we're all finished.